Hello and welcome to this short presentation about some of the streets and buildings in Scarborough. My name is Angela Cale and I'm an outreach librarian for North Yorkshire Libraries. Our beautiful town of Scarborough was reputedly founded in 966, and if you would like to read more about the history of the town, we have a number of wonderful books in our collections at Scarborough Library. A few of my favourites are The Original History of Scarborough by Thomas Hindewell, which was first published in 1798 and regularly updated. And a more recent favourite is Dr. Jack Binns' A History of Scarborough. The photographs and images that are going to be used are from the collections at Scarborough Library. In 1660, Dr. Robert Whitty published a book about the medicinal qualities of the spa waters. This opened up new tourist opportunities for Scarborough, and in 1735 there was a report of the first bathing machine on the seafront. This image is a representation of a medieval map of Scarborough, and as you can see there are 24 streets in total, with the majority of the industry being focused around the sands and harbour. This map is from 1880 and shows how the town has grown and developed, with more churches, schools, banks, inns, lodging houses, hotels, municipal buildings, and more tourist industry. This is an image of Newborough. It was called Newborough Street, and it was the main street of the new town, which was created in the 13th century. This image and some of the other ones that we are using today are from the lithograph collection in the archives at Scarborough Library. This image shows Carr Street and St Helens Square. Carr Street and Leading Post Streets were the main ways that the coaches and traffic of the time went to the beach. In the 1860s, Newborough was extended to include West Sandgate and to increase the width of the road. This is a lovely image by Francis Nicholson. Fun fact, the building in the top of the image is where Anne Bronte stayed when she was in Scarborough. The Cliff Bridge, and I'm going to be reading from Theakston's Guide to Scarborough, published in 1854. This elegant structure was projected by the late R. Kettle, Esquire of York, and the foundation stone was laid on November the 29th, 1826, by E. H. Hebden, Esquire, then the senior bailiff of the borough. It was opened to the public on the 19th of July, 1827, the anniversary of the coronation of His Majesty George IV. The dimensions are length 414 feet, breadth 13 feet and a half, and the original cost was about £9,000. The bridge became toll-free in September 1951, and the toll houses were demolished in 1952 as they were, quote, spoiling the view. The aquarium opened on the 28th of May 1877. The first Saturday concert was on the 16th of February 1878, and the summer baths opened on the 4th of September 1893. The People's Palace and Aquarium, as described in Wardlock's Guide to Scarborough in 1894, was constructed from the designs of Mr. Birch, the originator of the aquarium at Brighton, and stands upon, or rather underneath, a plot of ground 3 acres in extent at the entrance of the South Sands and close to the Cliff Bridge. The immense structure is of Indian architecture, and its tasteful and decorations readily command attention. We're quite lucky to have these in the collection. It goes on to describe that there was a naturalistic model of Niagara Falls and dioramas of New York. It took 2.5 years to build and it cost a grand total of £110,000. In 1897, a ballroom was added. In 1907, a theatre was. And then in 1909, there was a skating ring. In 1913, however, a zoo was added in the place of the skating ring. As with the way of many businesses, the aquarium closed, and in 1925, Galaland was opened. Galaland closed its doors permanently on the 7th of December 1966 and was demolished on the 24th of October 1968. The Central Tramway was built in 1881, so this year is its 140th anniversary. We also hold some of the archives of the Central Tramway Company in the collections at Scarborough Library. The Central Tramway has the distinction of being the oldest tramway company in the country. The Grand Hotel was designed by architect Cuthbert Broderick and was completed in 1867. It was one of the largest hotels in the world. The yellow bricks were made locally in Hummonby. The building is designed around the theme of time. 4 towers to represent the seasons, 12 floors for the 12 months of the year, 52 chimneys to symbolise the weeks, and originally there were 365 rooms. And the hotel was designed in a V shape to honour Queen Victoria. What's lovely about this is the bathing machines as well. A famous hotel was the Pavilion Hotel. It was built in 1870 and closed 100 years later in 1970. Today the site of the Pavilion Hotel is a car park, shops and offices. It was run by the famous Lawton family and was very convenient for those visitors coming by train. The railway station was opened in 1845 and extended in 1882. Well, when you arrived at Scarborough, this is from the 1920s, you could pick up the Robinson's Royal Blue Motor Tour from the station. This is Cross Street in the Old Town. It took its name from the market cross at the end of the street in St Helens Square. This is a lovely image from the collection of Westbrook in approximately the 1920s. There are some lovely images of the coaches, charabancs and trams, and it was in the days where there was a roundabout instead of the traffic lights that we see now. Westbrook is one of the main shopping streets. The name was chosen to match with Newborough and Eastborough. Prior to the change, the upper end of Westborough, before the name was selected, was originally known as Without the Bar. You'll have seen from some of the posts that we've had during this Local History Month that there's been some really lovely images of Scarborough then and Scarborough now. If you haven't had a chance, have a look through the Facebook page and enjoy. This is a lovely image of Tonks and Sons. They were based at 104 and 105 Westborough. They advertised as being house furnishers, cabinet makers, furnishing undertakers, furniture storers and removal contractors. This is a lithograph of the Crescent. The Crescent was developed from 1830 to 1832 from fields known as, and I quote, the Great Whitebread Close. Half of the Crescent became home to the villas, and it was known as Villa Road for a time. The East Villa and Lonsborough Lodge were the Lonsborough family residences. Broxholm, now the Art Gallery, was built by the Uppleby family, and Wood End was the residence of the Sitwell family. That is an image of the rotunda before the extension. The two wings were added to the rotunda in 1860. The rotunda was originally built in the round in 1829 by Richard Hay Sharp of York, and based on a design suggested by William Smith. When the circus came to town, they did a parade through the streets of Scarborough, and in our collections we have lots of images of the circus parades, horse-drawn carriages, stunt riders doing amazing tricks, and lots of elephants walking through town. Here we have a lovely image of Mayville Avenue, and this is an image of Moorland Road. This is an image of Tennyson Avenue. It was named for the Poet Laureate Alfred Lord Tennyson, and the first residents, and the first people who were in residence were from 1911. This is an image of New Queen Street. New Queen Street first appeared on records from 1855. Here we have Columbus Ravine. The first residents were recorded as living in Columbus Ravine houses in 1892, and it was named after the explorer and former tavern keeper Christopher Columbus. Here we have an image of Franklin Street. Franklin Street was named after the explorer and Navy Admiral Sir John Franklin, who died in 1847. The first residents started living in the houses here from 1892. Seymour Road first appeared on records from 1867. It appeared as Seymour Lane from 1832. You may notice quite an unusual structure at the back of this photograph. The structure is of the Warwicks Revolving Tower. It was the latest in tourist attractions. One was built for Brighton in 1897, and in 1898 this was built for Scarborough. It wasn't without controversy. It was built by the Warwick Revolving Tower Company, chaired by Thomas Warwick. He saw one of these in Atlantic City when he was over in America that was built by Jesse Wright. It was bought in 1907 by Alfred Shuttleworth, who had it demolished the same year. Thank you for listening to me today and for watching the presentation. We hope you enjoyed it. All of the images that have been used and the information is from the archives at Scarborough Library. If you would like to know more about the local history collections at Scarborough Library, it would be our pleasure to help. If you'd like to email us, our email address is scarborough.library@northyorks.gov.uk, and our telephone number is 01609 536602.